Everyone, it is the local Toyota Dealers KSR post-game show. I'm Matt Jones here, actually in the lobby where I was for the pregame show at the Marriott in Pittsburgh, where, unfortunately, this is the Oakland team hotel. There's nowhere else I could find to go, so I'm here. So if you hear noise in the background, that's unfortunately going to be them celebrating, as they certainly should do after beating Kentucky 80-76. I just got here after I wanted to hear the John Calipari press conference and the comments to reporters, and I just got back here from there. And, you know, I thought on my walk a lot about, well, what are you going to say? Because there is no doubt this is not only an inflection point, it probably is the inflection point for Kentucky basketball in the Calipari era. For the second time in 3 years, Kentucky has lost to a high-digit seed. Since the tournament went to 64 teams, Kentucky has only lost in the first round 4 times, and two of them are in the last 3 years. 2 seasons ago, in my opinion, it was the worst NCAA tournament loss in UK history, and this is probably the second worst, and it's happened in 3 years. 3 years ago, probably the worst UK season in history. So a pretty terrible run over the last 4 years. And as I was walking here, I was trying to figure out, what am I going to say? Because there are certain times that, you hit a moment with a fan base or with a coach where, like, you just have to say it how it is. And this is where I think we are right now. It is all season long. We said this last summer. I thought this was going to be the most important season in the Calipari era. And you got to go back to COVID to see why that is. Since then, it's been a different Cal. I mean, we just have to accept it. There's no sugarcoating. It's been different. And the list of things that have happened, all of you know. But at the end of the day, none of it really matters if you win. If you win, all the other stuff is secondary. Your relationship with the athletic director, your relationship with the media, your relationship with boosters, your relationship even with the fans, all of it really doesn't matter if you win. If you win, everything will be forgiven because you're winning. And the reality is, the simplest way to put where Kentucky basketball is right now is we aren't winning, and we aren't winning enough. Calipari said in his interview on CBS, he said it in his interview on the radio, and he said it in the interview to the press conference. He said, I hate that this team will be defined by this game. I hate that because they're better than that. Well, on some level I agree with him because I really like this team. But at the end of the day, the point of UK basketball and the point of playing games is to win. That's the point. The point is to get victories, the point is to build a program, and the point is to win. It is. Now, there are secondary things that are also awesome. Building relationships with fans. Calipari talks about helping players reach their dreams, and all of that I'm not only for. I think when you do that, it leads to more winning. But at the end of the day, winning has to be the primary thing. Winning has to be the centerpiece of why you do it. You play, to quote Herm Edwards, to win the game. And you play to build memories and a program for the fan base that they love. And there is no place in college basketball, maybe no place in college athletics, that cares more about a particular thing and about winning than Kentucky basketball. And Cal has said for years, this place isn't for everyone. And he's right. It's not. Not everybody can do this job. This is a different thing here. We care the most, thus you're paid the most, thus there's the most pressure on you. Period. And the reality is that at this moment, Calipari in the last 4 years has failed at the number one goal, which is winning. I talked about this morning. For years, especially in the last few years, Calipari excused a lot of regular season mistakes by saying everything's about March. March is what matters. March is what matters. And I always kind of hated that for him because in the tournament, random stuff can happen. Today, a kid who was playing Division III 2 seasons ago hits 10 3-pointers against you. Stuff happens. But he himself has set the standard. This is not Matt Jones. This is not the fan base. This is John Calipari. He has set the standard. March is what matters. I have my teams ready for March. And one of the things, and as you hear this, the players for Oakland are starting to come back in, and you'll hear them in the background because it is what it is. But he has said for a while, it's about March. March. Well, the reality is we are failing in March. And he said this last year, and he said this year. I don't like that the season is defined by March. Well, you're the one that set it up like that. It has to be defined by something. We've won one regular season title since 2017. We've won one SEC tournament title since 2017. We've only won one SEC tournament game since 2019. We've only won one NCAA tournament game since 2019. So we have to define it with something. And right now we're defining it with losing. And I hate to say this. I do. Because I have a lot of affinity, contrary to what people believe, for John Calipari. The Calipari era has corresponded with my career. He has brought Kentucky great wins, great success, and for 8 years made it about the most fun thing you could have as a Kentucky fan during that period of time. But it's not like that now. It's not like that now. Now we have a fan base that tens, maybe hundreds of thousands are listening right now, and I think 97%, 95% feel the same way. It just can't go on like this. The situation is untenable. It's a relationship, which has been great for a lot of it, but has reached the point that I think there probably needs to be a separation. I don't know how the UK fan base can get into another year of being excited but also dreading what's to come. Calipari's now in a situation that anything he says makes most fans frustrated. Anything he does makes many fans frustrated. And this year, he had a team that this fan base loves. They love Reed Shepherd. They love Rob Dillingham. They love Antonio Reeves. They love these guys. This was the most excited this fan base has been about a team probably since 2017, if not before. This team was beloved. And yet, we lost 10 games, and we lost to Oakland 2 years after losing to St. Peter's. I don't think it can continue like this. How do we go into an offseason with what's happening? How? How do fans continue to have interest? And how do fans get that love and excitement they have if it's going to be the same old thing? That cheering you hear in the background, that's supposed to be us. That's supposed to be Kentucky basketball. It's supposed to be a celebration. And it hasn't been long enough. And I think if we're honest, and you go back through this 4-year history, outside of when we were on probation, this has been the least successful 4-year history in what matters, which is the postseason, in Kentucky basketball history. And if that's the case, how do you keep going? How do you keep doing it? I hate it. Cal's a great man. Cal's a great coach. And I believe that. And Cal has produced a ton of amazing memories for this fan base. But good things end. And I don't know how it happens. There's $33 million owed. But I don't see how this can go on. I don't see how you can have a coach that has no relationship with his athletic director, no relationship with most of his donors, no relationship with his media, no relationship with most folks I don't know how you can do that and then come back and run it back again. Cal in his press conference did not sound like a guy that wants to go. He talked about how good the freshmen were coming in next year. He talked about how some guys may come back. And maybe that's will be what it is. And if he comes back, I'll root for him. I'll want Kentucky to win every game. And I'll be the biggest advocate for Kentucky basketball I can. But if I'm being honest, and I think if a lot of people who are listening are being honest, they know it's probably time for a change. It's probably time for two groups that have gone really well together, the Kentucky fan base and John Calipari, to just agree to go in different directions. How that happens, I don't know. But I think if you're asking Matt Jones, that's probably what needs to take place. Nights like tonight and the season of 2021 and the St. Peter's loss, this is not Kentucky basketball. And unfortunately, we've gotten away from it, and something has to change, or I don't know how we get back on track. We'll open up the phones, 859-280-2287. I'm going to listen. You guys get through and say what you that anymore. Maybe with NIL, guys are going to stay longer. They're going to be in school longer. Maybe you can't rely on freshmen anymore. And if that's the case, I'm not sure if John Calipari's the coach if you can't rely on freshmen. Because our freshmen weren't able to play tonight, and we let a bunch of guys who, I give them a lot of credit, played well. But we literally let a Division III player beat us. No offense to him, but that's just not Kentucky basketball. 859-280-2287. We'll take a break. We'll take your calls. This will be not a fun show, but probably a necessary one here on the Local Toyota Dealers KSR postgame show. Welcome back. It is the Local Toyota Dealers KSR postgame show. I'm not sure I could have picked a much worse environment for this, because literally there are Oakland